Hello and welcome back to the NBA DFS Slate Breakdown for Wednesday, March 5th. We are back. We got 8 games on FanDuel, 7 on Draftkings, so we're going to dive into it all. I'm your host, Tyler Wiemann, at FlatTyler83 on your DFS sites and Twitter. Now come join us at LionStar. $39.99 per month gets you access to all we do, the props, the DFS. You get it all, one low price. And you also get our nice little best ball tool. We do have best ball back, and it's baseball. NFL will be up shortly after the draft. Now let's dive in and look at this nice slate here that we got on Wednesday. All right, 8 games starting position by position with FanDuel. Point guard, highest owned, Keon Ellis, 35% owned, 4,800. He is going to be starting for Malik Monk, most likely. So that is why the ownership is there. There's no Malik Monk. He is going to play that point guard position. And I don't mind going here. I think 4,800 is a totally fair price. Likelihood of him being in that 5 to 6 X area is very, very high. If you can see most of his starts here, he's right around 30-ish or 41. Being the ceiling, and really hasn't failed as a starter, at least over since the new year here. So I don't mind some Keon Ellis. It's fine. I got no huge grand take on it. I'm going to be playing some of them. Next, we got James Harden, 9,300, 28% owned. The news here, no Kawhi Leonard and no Norm Powell. So obviously usage is just giant for Harden tonight. With that, huge ceiling. You know, there's absolutely that chance of the 60 burger at 9,300. That's why he's high owned. I'm fine going here. It projects to be a close game, only a 4.5 spread, and I'm fine having Harden play some big minutes in a big usage role. Spencer Dinwiddie, 5,600, 26% owned. I'm coming under the weight here. I'm not really on this Dinwiddie path here. I don't mind if you get him. He should be starting 0.9 fantasy points per minute as a starter over the last 20. I just see a lot of downside risk with high ownership, and I don't really care to go there too much. Next, SGA, 11 points, 11.6K. This is a game that Oklahoma City may actually have to try. There's no Chet Holmgren, so a little more usage going SGA's way. He has a huge ceiling, and it's these games where he's got to play 36, 38 minutes where he has that huge ceiling potential, and it makes these prices worthy. So I'm interested in SGA tonight. I think 22% owned is probably fair. But I'm going there. Next, pivot-wise, Damian Lillard, 9,100. All right, I do think this price is a little higher than it really should be, but Dallas Mavericks have been absolutely awful against point guards lately, and I don't mind trying to attack that a little bit. Slightly worried that it is an 11-point spread. Lillard could get pulled early, but, I'm interested going here. It's also on a back-to-back. Lillard and Giannis are both probable, so I'd expect them both to play as well as Kuzma. But I'm interested going here. I'm not going to have a huge number of Lillard, but I'm definitely going there. Darius Garland, 7,700, 3% owned versus the Heat. Another game that's likely a blowout. I don't mind getting some. These blowout games, the Bucks, the Cavs, I don't mind playing them, but I want to play them in a way that makes some sense. It's not likely if the Cavs blow out Heat and Garland only plays 28 minutes, it's not likely that he's going to break the slate. But if this game stays a little closer than expected, a Heat player comes with Garland, then they can break the slate. So these type of plays like Lillard, like Garland, I kind of want a guy from the other side going in my lineups as well. Hopefully I can get that game right to stay close. So, just like a mini game stack or something like that. I think Garland's interesting. There is upside in this matchup. I just worry about minutes here. It is back-to-back. Maybe that allows them to stay a little close. They did stay close with B-level Chicago Bulls team. Bulls were already bad, and then they had most of their starters out, and, they didn't really rise to that occasion. Will they really rise to the Heat occasion, one night later? Maybe that kind of snapped them into shape that they got to bring their A game every game, but all in all, I think there are some paths to Darius Garland being successful tonight. Peyton Pritchard, 5,500. There's no Drew Holiday, no Kristaps Porzingis. Jaylen Brown is questionable. Somebody else is on the injury report, I believe, and it's blanking my mind right now. But he's right at 0.88 fantasy points per minute, and it's likely that he's going to play 28, 30 minutes or so against the Trailblazers, who do give it up a little bit more versus the reserves than the starting point guard. I'm interested in Peyton in this spot. Not going to go super hard, but definitely going to have some. Point guard on DK, high-owned Dinwiddie. Keon Ellis, covered both of them. I'm fine with both of them. SGA is next. I'm fine there. Markelle Fultz is 3,200, and he's only been playing 16 minutes or so. The expectation would be that he has more of the bench role that Keon Ellis had. So maybe that 16 goes up a little bit, which would make it a little bit interesting. But all in all, I think it's very hard to play on a 7-game slate. Bob Carrington, I don't mind about 5,300 for Carrington. I would be fine going there. Getting over to shooting guard on FanDuel. Keon Ellis, Spencer Dinwiddie, Malik Beasley. Beasley, 5,400, 27% owned. He's going to play big-time minutes. Likely starts with no Tobias Harris again. I'm fine to go here. He did us dirty last game, but he's still in a decent spot. If he gets hot from 3, he's good to go. Max Christie, 5,800. This is where I'm more likely to go for the Dallas Mavericks. He has shown some upside as a starter, and now there's nobody around him. It's Spencer Dinwiddie and a bunch of backups. So I think there is a chance that Christie is able to take a little more usage and, put up a few more shots and have a little bit more of a ceiling. And at 5,800, I'm fine. I'm fine going there. Jaylen Brown, 8,400. He is questionable, but if he plays, I think he is going to be my highest owned Boston guy. He's projecting super well for me. 1.1 fantasy point per minute over the last 20, 1.2 over the last 5. You got no Porzingis, no Holiday, and he gets the biggest bump out of anybody on the Celtics with that situation. So definitely interested in Brown. Lou Dort, 4,500, is a nice low-owned value play. We know he can get into the 30s. There's no Chet, so there's more likely that is able to happen in this spot. If his ownership was up, I'd be totally off him, but with his ownership down, I am a little interested in him. And gonna take a little. Shooting guard, DK, Dinwiddie, Keon Ellis, Anthony Edwards. Ant 9,300 is a little bit interesting. I will say it did look like he banged up his hand a little bit last night, so we need to watch for that. But all indications is that he's playing, and as long as he's fine, that ceiling is huge. And he didn't do much yesterday. He can definitely try and get right tonight. I'm fine going there against a very bad Hornets team. And small forward on FanDuel, we got Najee Marshall, 5,900, 36% owned. He's going to get some minutes. This team is so beat up. They kind of have to. He played 30 yesterday or last game after Irving got hurt and in an absolute blowout. So I don't mind sprinkling in some Najee Marshall here. Bryce Sensabaugh, 4,300, 34% owned. I am probably going to have a bunch of him. The one thing I do have to say is I am a little nervous about how many minutes they give him. We admit 28. I think that's fair. I may try to push him down a little bit more, just due to the fact that, look at his minutes over the last 5. It's 26 a game. Over the last 20 starts, it's 26 a game. So, he's only had 5 starts. So, he's at 26 minutes per game, and we have him at 28. So, can he get 28 plus? Yes. And if he got 28 plus, he would by far be my highest owned on Utah. I just don't know if I can necessarily give him that. I think they're just going to spread the minutes around a lot, and Sensabaugh may not be that great because of it. All right, pivot. Beasley, Christie, we talked about. DeMar DeRozan, no Malik Monk. DeRozan and Murray are both super interesting. I'm most interested in Murray. DeRozan is a close second. I think these two pick up the most usage. Hard to say how much Zach LaVine picks up, but it could be just as equal as all of them. The only thing is that I think LaVine really going nuts takes away from everybody else more than Murray going nuts or DeRozan. So I just like these two a little bit better, and I am fine going there. Murray gets a big bump up power forward versus Denver as well. I think the obvious one is DeRozan and LaVine. Brown we covered. Dort we covered. Let's get on to small forward on DK. Sensabaugh, Najee, Jalen Williams. 8,200 for Jalen Williams with no Chet is super interesting. I would have a ton of them on DraftKings. Power forward on FanDuel, Najee Marshall, Alex Sarr, Jalen Williams, 8,300. I'm going to definitely have some Jalen Williams. Najee Marshall, 5,900. We talked about him. Alex Sarr, 5,900 versus the Utah team. Utah, prospects team, rising stars team, if you will. I'm fine going some Alex Sarr. They do need to give this guy some run, really see what they have here. And versus this rising stars team is a perfect chance for them to really do that. His minutes are all over the place. That's the one thing that's very hard to project for him. 25, 26 the last two. 2 before that was 26 and 32, so really hard to know what his minutes come. And I think that is why I'm not getting that much of him. We have him at 26. If you bump it up to 28.5, you probably get a decent amount, but it is what it is. And pivot time, Kyle Filipowski, 5,900, 15% owned. I'm probably going to have a lot of him. He has been very, very good, and in a spot versus this Washington Wizards team is a great one. Minutes, 28 last time he started, 36 the time before that, 37 the time before that, and 29. I think we can kind of take a 28-minute as a floor, and there is some upward momentum in that if he gets it rolling. So interested in him. DeRozan, Murray, you talked about. Santi Aldama. There is no Jaren Jackson Jr. With that, I would expect Aldama to start and likely play some decent minutes. We have met 32. I think that's fair. He's been super good from a fantasy point per minute standpoint. Now, I don't expect him to be quite as good from a fantasy point per minute standpoint, just because with the starters, his usage won't be quite as high. But without Jaren Jackson there, that definitely helps him. And let's get over to DraftKings. Sensabaugh, Najee, Jalen Williams. We talked about them all. Center time. Alex Sarr, Zubac. 7,800, Zubac. We know he has that giant ceiling. It is a back-to-back, which is a little scary for him. But there's no Kawhi and no Powell. If he gets this type of minutes where he's playing, 35 plus minutes, he could absolutely break the slate. So I'm absolutely interested in him. Detroit hasn't been that great versus center. I'm fine taking some shots there. Kyle, we talked about. Pivot time. Jokic, 12.7K. Jonas Valanciunas is not good at defense. So Jokic could absolutely crush this team. So I'm absolutely interested with that. But they're also at home, which they're way better. And Sacramento Kings without Malik Monk may have some trouble. That team hasn't been good, and I don't think losing Monk makes them any better. Kai Jones, 4,900. He made his appearance for the Mavericks and played 34 minutes off the bench. If he is going to play a lot, he's going to look good. Now, this was a blowout, so maybe those minutes aren't real, but we do know Dwight Powell isn't going to play big minutes. That leaves Jones as the likely one to pick up extra minutes. I think he's a little interesting if he plays. He is questionable. He popped up on the injury report just a little bit ago. Jonas Valanciunas, 6,900. All right. So he was big-time chalk yesterday, or 2 days ago. We talked about it. We talked about how I really don't know how to judge his minutes. And I said, you know, he hasn't really been a guy on other teams that teams have given him a lot of minutes. So I was very, very skeptical of how many minutes they gave him. Now, this is a total blowout. He played 23 minutes and 3 quarters, sat out, didn't, play again once he got pulled after his first stint in the second half. I think he was on track to play like 30-ish minutes. So if he's going to play 30 at 6,900, he looks great, even versus Denver. If he plays 26 minutes, I wouldn't be that surprised. He can get into some foul trouble, and versus Jokic, it's easy to get into foul trouble. So I think there is some variance in his minutes, but the one thing I got to say is versus Houston, he played 30. Versus Dallas, he was on track to play like 30 minutes. So I'm fine having a lot of Joe Val in this spot if he stays low owned. I think he's a pretty interesting play. And then Santi Aldama, we already talked, and center on DK. Oscar Tashwibi, he's been super productive off the bench. 1.23 fantasy points per minute off the bench. Only 6 minutes last game. Some guys were there. 20 the game before that. I think there's a chance that he can get 18 minutes or so, 16 to 18. If that's the case, at bare minimum, there is some reason to go there. But the ceiling I would definitely worry about. However, he got there in 20. Can they do it again? Can he do that again? Probably not, but could probably come close. Jokic we covered, Flip we covered, and that will do it for us today, guys. Quick one, had a lot to go over, and there's a lot of guys that I think are very interesting, and we're probably going to see a ton of injury news throughout the day. So just understand, it's always evolving as far as what I like or don't like, but this is my views right now. You guys have a good one. Please like, comment, and subscribe, and I will see you later. Peace.